If you're going into the criminal justice system, I know it's a super hard time, but you've got to be thinking early about steps that you could take to protect yourself, to protect your family, to protect your business, and really start sowing seeds for the career that you're going to have on the other side of the journey. I always say it's never too early and never too late to start building a pathway to a better outcome, but it's always helpful if you can protect your family and business interests. So I'm going to give you just a few points to consider as you're trying to navigate this very difficult crisis. At the start of the video, I will say that I think you can do this on your own. I rarely recommend anybody to go out there and hire these people who masquerade as prison consultants that did 1 year in a minimum security camp and have very limited experience. They didn't really do anything while they're in there. Anybody in this era of AI can learn. We offer an abundance of free information. I always make 3 promises to those who visit us at Prison Professors. I'm never going to lie to you. I'm never going to ask you to do something I didn't do. And I'll never ask anybody to pay a penny for anything at Prison Professors. If you need that type of one-on-one guidance and consulting, I'm not the person who can provide it. I'm too busy trying to change the law, and there's only one group I recommend, and they're a sponsor of ours at whitecollaradvice.com/nonprofit. But let's start off with what you can do. One of the first steps that you want to take is you want to make sure that you safeguard the assets that you currently have. A lot of complications follow for people who get involved in the criminal justice system, including freezing bank accounts, efforts by administrator or law enforcement to attach your assets. So speak with your attorney to make sure that you're not doing anything that's untoward. Avoid transferring assets that can make things look nefarious or trigger on further investigations. But do take efforts to protect yourself. Prepare documentations of legitimate ownership and account histories to demonstrate transparency. If you have debts, make sure that you have worked to memorialize those debts so that you can pay them back, because it's very difficult to go through a criminal justice problem and then find out that all of your assets are frozen and you can't even take care of the obligations that you have. So make sure that you do everything possible to separate and safeguard your assets. We provide a lot of free information on that on our website of lessons we have learned from other people, of what we've personally experienced. Number 2, if you're a business owner, protect your business. Identify a trusted partner or person to manage and oversee your operations, because you're going to be in a crisis mode and not being able to manage things from a position of strength. So build strong succession plans and consider how people are going to make decisions if you're in the event that you're not available. 3, make sure that you have a good strategy for communicating with loved ones. It's very difficult for everybody in the family when you're going through a problem with the criminal justice system. So I wouldn't recommend that you share details that could harm your defense, but make sure that you're doing everything possible to keep your family in the loop, to be honest with them, to talk about what steps that you are taking to keep the family together. Don't go through this blindly. Make sure that you've got a good strategy that you could use to maintain stability to the best of your ability while you're going through this. That includes getting a really good understanding of how much all of this will cost, which leads us to the next point: financial planning for your household. You've got to think about how much it's going to cost, both in terms of litigating a case, if that's what you're going to do, but also maintaining your household. So make sure that your spouse or your loved one has access to finances in case you're not there. Do everything, as long as you have liberty, do everything within your power to set things up. Review, insurance policies, wills, estate documents, anything that affects your family's finances, because God forbid, if you go to prison, it's very difficult to manage or even contribute in a meaningful, measurable way. If you have children, you have to decide how much you want to talk with your children. Again, I wouldn't mention anything that could jeopardize your defense, but you do want to give them a plan and a sense of stability, that the routine for them is going to be as normal as possible, because you've got a plan in place. Once you have a plan in place, you can start restoring confidence. It's when you go through things with your head in the sand that things get very difficult, not only for you, but for the people you love. Make sure that you build a support system for mental health, because this is very complicated going through the criminal justice system. It's going to rob you of peace. It's going to result in sleepless nights. And the only way to get through that is you build a strong support system. You find ways to relieve stress. You build a strategy that's going to help you work towards the next opportunities in your life. And as a person who went through 26 years in prison, I can assure you, you can build more opportunities, but it's not going, that building those opportunities is not going to happen by accident or with happy talk. You've got to be the CEO of your life. And that requires you to move towards this next step I want to talk about. And that's documenting, everything that's going on in your life, all the steps that you are taking toward mitigation strategies. Keep very good records of not only your finances, but all the efforts that are going to make you a more likely candidate for an earlier release plan. Sometimes, when you're in this system, you really just want to defer decisions and outsource everything to your defense attorney. But at the end of the day, you are going to be the most important person in this entire journey. Legal advice is going to be essential, and I hope that you find a trustworthy defense attorney, but never underestimate the power you have in building a good strategy. So I really encourage you to use all of the free resources that we make available here at Prison Professors. Everything we do is free. I am not available for personal consulting because my real focus is on changing the system and keeping people who don't belong in prison from going to prison. And that requires all of my attention. I do recognize that some people want to have somebody with whom they can talk. There's only one person I recommend, as I said, and I would encourage you to visit whitecollaradvice.com/nonprofit. I want you to know, though, at the end of the day, I think you can find everything you need for free right here at prisonprofessors.org. And use our chatbot. We've invested a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of energy to develop that chatbot, and we continue to invest in it every day. So if you have questions, just go to the lower part of our screen at prisonprofessors.org and ask your questions into the AI chatbot. AI is an amazing tool, and I would encourage you to use it for your strategies going forward. I'm Michael Santos. I believe in you.